Hello everyone, my name is Putu Kusuma. Now I will explanation about explaining skill. Learning is one of the outcome of cognitive memory and metacognition that can affect student understanding. Basic skill in teaching are special skill that will be possessed by every teacher. This is understood to that every teacher can carry out teaching tasks effectively, efficiently, and also professionally. Learning can also be said as a process or of transferring information conveyed by the teacher to student. A teacher must also be able to modify information so that it can be received accurately and thoroughly by student. The ability of an educator in conveying material and information in a learning process in the easiest thing. An educator must be able to have skill in teaching or explaining material so that students achieve their goals in learning. In teaching skill, there are X skill that must be mastered by teacher, one of which is the skill of explaining. Explaining skill are skill possessed by teacher, instructor, and also lecturer in providing information orally to students which are managed systematically to show the interrelationship between subject matter. The main characteristic of this explaining skill is to explain the material in a systematic and well-organized manner. This skill in explaining is very important to be mastered by the teacher in classroom learning because in general the oral communication and interaction to occurs in the classroom is general domain by the teacher. Therefore, the main activity of a teacher is to provide information to student in order to provide information. Therefore, in explaining it is necessary to use clear and effective language. Explaining skill are skills that can present information that has been systematically arranged into a single unit so that student can easily understand what is explained by the teacher. Therefore, the therefore the teacher must be able to understanding the principle of explaining. For example, a teacher must explain according to characteristic of student. Furthermore, the teacher can explain interpretation with a question and answer while still paying attention to the learning objective. Then the speak is explaining the material being studied, six as the language choose must be simple, clear, so that the material present uh, can be understood and mastered properly, and the point conveying must be concluded at the end of the lesson. In addition, the material in the book as a complex teaching material will usually be more difficult for students to understand. So this make it difficult for students to be able to digest reading information properly. In this case, a teacher has a very important role for students to be able to provide material review to students so that students are able to improve their understanding. And the as for the benefit in explaining are the first one is able to increase effectiveness when speaking, and the third is can estimate the level of understanding obtained by student, and then the third is can help student to be able to explore student experience in learning, and then the last can overcome the short stage of learning resource for student. And not only that, as for the purpose of explaining skill, the first one is able to understand concept objective and logically. And then the second is able to answer question from student. And then the third is can help student to be able to solve problem systematically and can provide equal opportunities for all students to be able to live the reasoning process. And my experience when using this explaining skill is of course a little difficult, but I try my best to use this explaining skill. And over time, I feel happy using this explaining skill. I have learned a lot and have experience in using this explaining skill in teaching simulation. My experience assessment Novi and Vikanta when they use their explaining skill, they use skill very well. Use skill very well is conducting teaching simulation. Okay, that's all about my explanation, and thank you.